That's the reason.
It was accidental. An act of God, perhaps. In a way, you should be grateful that you were able to do your share in accomplishing the destiny of a fellow being. Suppose, for instance, it was written in the book of heaven that this man was to die at this particular time and at this particular place. And suppose for a moment the actual accomplishing of his departure had been bungled, something gone wrong. Perhaps it was meant to be a thunderbolt, and there was no thunder available, say. Well, then you come along and you shoot him, and heaven's will is done, and destiny fulfilled. Your conscience is quite clear. You got nothing to worry about.
Sammy, I haven't got a conscience.
Shot.
Perhaps I'll come back tomorrow.
When's that?
Day after today.
That's yesterday. Today's tomorrow.
It was.
When was tomorrow yesterday, Mr. Morrow?
Today.
Oh, sure. Yesterday.
You'll never make sense out of Arnie. He's got his own timing. I'll get you a lemonade. Maybe you'll think of it.
You're not only beautiful, you're considerate, too.
Arnie.
Hello, Mr. Morrow.
Hi. What do you got, rabbit?
Dad.
That's not Arnie, that's the Beaver.
Oh, I got me a little
Let's
drop.
leave it. That's Beaver from Leave It to Beaver, I believe. Isn't it?
Yes.
It's hungry. It needs a mother.
That's a frog, but I'm talking about the kid, and that's a rabbit. But I think the little boy is the Beaver.
Oh, pray, Jack.
You want one of
Theodore
mine?
Cleaver. No, Theodore
It's yours.
Beaver Cleaver.
I think you got the best deal.
It looks like him.
Don't eat.
Well, I just
Sounds
went
like
to
him.
the kitchen and get him some lemonade.
It's probably before he was the Beaver. Maybe. Where's Wally? That looks kind of like his dad. Is that his dad? Is that,
Poor rabbit state, and he got killed.
that maybe
Should've
the
carried a 4-week
maybe the
forward,
rabbit's
too.
Wally.
No horseshoe.
That's Beaver.
How do
It's
rabbits
the
get to be
Beaver.
born?
Beaver. Beaver.
Oh,
Theodore Cleaver.
How come you never came over to visit me before?
I think it's Theodore
No,
Cleaver,
that's
the
such a pretty
Beaver.
mother, Arnie.
You think she...
It's not Arnie, dude. It's the Beaver. Theodore.
Perhaps I'll come back tomorrow.
When's that?
Day after today.
That's yesterday. Today's tomorrow.
It was.
When was tomorrow yesterday, Mr. Morrow?
Mr. Cleaver.
Today.
Oh, sure. Yesterday.
You'll never make sense out of Arnie. He's got his
It's
own timing.
not Arnie, it's the Beaver!
Elvis, what was it?
A double bed.
Thank you for watching AMC's presentation of Universal's Hitchcock. I'll be back here next Sunday night, and I hope you will be too. And please visit our website at www.amctv.com. I'm Sharon Stone. Good night.
The proceeding was brought to you by Acura. Cars are our passion. Engineering is our art. A 260 horsepower CL Type S from Acura. On the next episode of The Lot, the studio heavy ruffles some feathers.
Do they pay you to be a son of a bitch?
A writer gets his first taste of Hollywood politics.
Mr. Silver, I'd like to know why you took my name off the picture.
And an actor plays with fire
I promise, I can stop.
and gets burned.
You're a junkie!
The glamour, the fortune, the fame, the truth. Based on the real stories from the real backlots of Hollywood. AMC's original series, The Lot. Coming up next.
I'm just never going to drink again in my life.
Well, time can be a very important thing.
February may be short on days, but it's long on classics. So tune in to AMC for the long and the short of great movies and the stories behind them.
How big is that?
First at Shining Through, AMC's celebration of Black History Month, weekday afternoons at 4.
They're gonna know when we get there.
Watch the movie milestones that paved the road for African Americans in Hollywood.
Gives you a sense of power, doesn't it?
Wednesday nights at 10, it's AMC's Director's Showcase. These are big movies that express the vision of some of the biggest names in movies.
Everybody knows your name. They know who you are.
Sometimes the greatest dramas are the ones without scripts. Every Monday night at 10, AMC's original series Backstory gives you the big picture with the stories you've never heard behind the movies you'll never forget.
Checks and balances around all the time.
Here's a big deal. Wow. Joanne Woodward and Liz Taylor in their birthday suits?
Do I make you nervous?
Well, maybe not, but they are celebrating their birthdays this month and wearing the charms that would let them live forever in our hearts.
That's what I like to hear. Gentlemen?
Gentlemen, the real sense of the word.
We're marking a big year for Clark Gable. It's the centennial of the leading man whose larger-than-life persona got him crowned the king of Hollywood.
I'll think of that all night.
I am king as I was born to be.
And Yul Brynner is a big man in any kingdom.
How you know?
And there's no grander score than The King and I.
How is it possible?
Fill your afternoon with Brynner's once-in-a-lifetime Oscar-winning performance, recreating his Tony-winning Broadway role.
Someday, you two will be king. And you two will know everything.
Don't let the calendar fool you. February's big. The biggest 28 days you've ever seen. Just keep your eyes on AMC, where there are no small months, only great movies and the stories behind them.
Oh, yeah? Yeah!
Ever wonder where the writer got the idea? How the director got the shot? What the actor did to get the part?
Mr. Louis B. Mayer said he wanted to meet the girl who started him on his way to fame and fortune.
For movie lovers who want the big picture on the big screen, American Movie Classics brings you the stories behind the movies.
Alice Guy was the first woman to direct a film.
Hollywood Lives and Legends goes inside America's favorite pastime every weeknight with an acclaimed AMC original featuring rare footage and exclusive interviews with the people who were there.
Directing movies is an on-the-spot job. It's a general in the battlefield.
See how classics are made.
We build a set that actually revolves as he's walking.
Stars are born.
He carried a kind of animal quality with him.
And lives become legends.
The manager said to me, that's what you ought to do. You ought to be out there telling jokes.
Get up close and personal with the movies on Hollywood Lives and Legends. Weeknights at 7, only on AMC. The following is being brought to you by Disney Cruise Line Vacation. You're the director of your dreams.
Big Mom and Dad are having any fun? Why? They're just lying around doing nothing. Last night they had dinner for 2 boring hours. And this morning they were out on our balcony just staring at the water. We better do something. Yeah. It's worse than we thought. Come on, come on! Wendy, they'll thank us for this.
Disney Cruise Line. Come, discover uncharted magic.
Over the railroads of the United States and Canada, the detector car is locating faulty rails before internal defects become dangerous. From the detecting mechanism below to the operators in the car, hidden secrets of the steel rails will be flashed. The detector will register on tape as the car moves 8 to 9 miles an hour. Each rail is checked if the tape shows its condition is satisfactory for the wheel loads of wartime freight. But should a defect of any kind be encountered by the searching unit above the rail, it will be instantly recorded, though it be but a burn caused by high-speed passenger travel. A registers itself in two ways. Not only will the tape show where it is to be found, but it will also check with a mechanism below that squirts white paint on the rail at the location of the discovered imperfection. The detector car is moved back to the suspected rail for close examination, centering at the spot of white paint. By removal of the defective rail, the safety and speeding up of traffic are increased. With such safeguards, all danger from faulty rails is removed before the defect has developed into danger. The splotch of paint covers the area where the defect is located, but a duplicate check is also made. With surgical care, the rail is cleaned so that no foreign matter remains to divert the electronic eye of science and affect the meter's nerve-like reaction when the defect is double-checked by the hand test. Electrical currents flowing through the steel rail are interrupted if a flaw is encountered. There, he's found it. Right in the middle of the white splotch of paint, a hairline is drawn, and then the crew from an auxiliary car will take out the condemned rail. No chances are taken. The rail is removed no matter how small the defect may turn out to have been. Safety first is the inflexible rule of our railroads. Now for steel surgery to open up the affected part, and there it is. Only a potential danger, but discovered and removed at once. The replacement rail, which has also been tested, is immediately laid. Meanwhile, the pilot conductor has been constantly in touch with the traffic control center so that the detector car does not interfere with train schedules, nor present any hazard whatever to traffic. And the unimpeded streamliner speeds on its way. Just another contribution of popular science to the safety of travel over rails now literally as true as steel. Destruction of life is the business of war. By air and on the ground, from the clouds above and the mines below, death explodes in convulsions of flame and steel. Yet war may promote compassion. Right up to the battle line, ministers of mercy are bringing new instruments unknown to civilians to save the lives and allay the suffering of our soldiers. Portable electrical generators, essential to every field hospital, are also a part of one of the most outstanding of recent devices, the United States Army X-ray Field Unit. The stretcher becomes the top of the X-ray field table. This is the first step in a revolutionary method of locating a bullet or fragment without painfully and sometimes fatally probing for it. The next step introduces the fluorescent screen on which a wounded man's entire body may be imaged. Embedded splinters or bullets will betray their shadows in the light of the X-ray. The shadow probing proceeds painlessly, adding no shock to a battle shock system and tearing no tissue in guesswork probing. And this is but one of almost countless devices which science dedicates to our wounded heroes. And there it is, a bullet deeply embedded. The next step brings in a mathematical marvel called the biplane marker. To ascertain the bullet's exact location, 3 centers will be fixed with their corresponding angles to the apex, the bullet. Vertically above the bullet, the biplane marker affixes an iodine spot on the flesh of the patient. Another center will determine the second of the 3 angles, and its calibration will also register itself on a scale in terms of centimeters. With the third center located, all equations are present, and triangulation solves the problem as easily as sums show up on an adding machine. Beside the iodine spot in vertical relation to the foreign body, a horizontal relationship must also be established, so that a device similarly adjusted to the operating table will exactly duplicate the patient's posture when removed to the operating room. As in the vertical marking of iodine, the dot indicating the horizontal direction is also registered on the scale, after which the patient is ready for the surgeon. In the operating room, the charted calibrations of the biplane marker guide the surgeon's assistant in adjusting the intricate mechanism of a reorientating device. Its function is to indicate the precise position of the patient's body, as it was when the biplane marker applied the iodine spots. If the posture is altered, all measurements, as well as the pointer's direction toward the bullet, will be thrown out of truth. The device is now clamped into position on the operating table. It now remains only to shift the patient until the iodine spots are directly beneath the checkpoints of the indicator. This brings the pointers to bear on the embedded bullet, an unerring guide for the surgeon's infallible hands and merciful steel. With an X-ray photograph to guide him, and with the elimination of every possibility of error, the surgeon becomes the personification of science itself. And all this proceeding not in the heart of some great metropolitan hospital, but within a stone's throw of the battle itself. Surgeons and assistants matching the doughboys for heroism under fire. Nor until peace comes will many of these devices be available to the public. Meanwhile, they are the nation's assurance to the folks at home that their boy, when hurt, gets better service today than a millionaire can command. Another unsung victory, another contribution to our soldiers, to whom Uncle Sam pledges the honor of a nation and the highest skill modern science can provide.
Silver Studios is thrown into turmoil when a new star, Victor Mansfield, is discovered to be a morphine addict on the original AMC series, The Lie, Detox. Next.
Are you going to take my picture?
No, I'm going to oil your skateboard.
Let the screwballs fly and the dinglings ring.
Losing your eye, you used to be able to pitch better than that. Hello?
Pick up the slapstick. And make sure your puns are intended.
Would you like to have a roll in the hay?
Tune in every Monday night as the stars fall, slip, and slide in your favorite funny film.
I have one question, Dr. Frankenstein.
That's Frankenstein's.
Mad Cat Mondays, every week at 8, only on AMC.
And another thing!
The story of a Russian princess, Anastasia, was a surefire hit, but there was one problem. The superstar born to play the title role had been exiled by Hollywood for her scandalous love affair.
Ingrid said I'll come to America when I want to.
Find out how Ingrid Bergman returned on her own terms with an Oscar-winning vengeance. Get the backstory on Anastasia. It's the stories you've never heard about the movies you can't forget. Watch Backstory, the AMC original series, Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you very, very much.
On the next episode of The Lot, the studio heavy ruffles some feathers.
Did they pay you to be a son of a bitch?
A writer gets his first taste of Hollywood politics.
Mr. Silver, I'd like to know why you took my name off the picture.
And an actor plays with fire.
I promise, I can stop.
And gets burned.
You're a junkie!
The glamour, the fortune, the fame, the truth. Based on the real stories from the real backlots of Hollywood. AMC's original series, The Lot. Coming up next.
I'm just never going to drink again in my life.
My doctor says I'm healthier than he is. I swim every day. It takes your mind off your troubles.
If you suffer from arthritis pain, speak to your doctor.
The lake is good for your soul.
Tylenol Arthritis Pain Extended Relief. As effective as the most prescribed arthritis pain medicine, but much gentler to your stomach.
When I swim, I'm free.
Tylenol. Take comfort in our strength.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Frakes. Ever try to get into the club or restaurant of the moment, one of those places with a 6-month waiting list or a members-only door policy? Well, that's where I'm taking you tonight. Only it's where the elite met some 60 years ago. Hollywood's Garden of Allah was the place to be, a fashionable den of iniquity owned by a silent screen siren. The Garden was a group of rental cottages situated in a Sunset Boulevard orange grove, and it housed many celebrities and many secrets. Tonight, Norma's version of the Garden gets a new tenant, a leading man with a bad case of back trouble. Find out how he really got hooked on Hollywood in tonight's The Lot.
My first tenant.
For you.
Sure thing, sir.
It was the alluring Alla Nazimova, star of the silent movies Salome and War Brides, who created the Garden of Allah, which became a residential hotel. She was eventually forced to take a tiny room in the house that had once been her home. And the real-life star with a bad habit? The real story didn't have a happy ending. Stay tuned to find out why.
Are you going to take my picture?
No, I'm gonna oil your skateboard.
Let the screwballs fly and the dinglings ring.
Losing your eye, you used to be able to pitch better than that. Hello?
Pick up the slapstick. And make sure your puns are intended.
Would you like to have a hole in the head?
Tune in every Monday night as the stars fall, slip, and slide in your favorite funny film.
I have one question, Dr. Frankenstein.
That's Frankenstein.
Mad Cat Mondays, every week at 8, only on AMC.
And another thing!
The story of a Russian princess, Anastasia, was a surefire hit, but there was one problem. The superstar born to play the title role had been exiled by Hollywood for her scandalous love affair.
Ingrid said I'll come to America when I want to.
Find out how Ingrid Bergman returned on her own terms with an Oscar-winning vengeance. Get the backstory on Anastasia. It's the stories you've never heard about the movies you can't forget. Watch Backstory, the AMC original series, Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you very, very much.
Get in here.
Don't go. I'm not going anywhere. Good morning, film fans. This is Letitia Devine with today's Scoop du Jour. I'm sure you've all seen Rachel Lipton's luscious lipstick ads around town. What you don't know is that in lieu of loot, she's being paid in medical supplies that will be donated to a local veterans hospital. Well done, Rachel. After their food-fighting monkey shines at Ciro's last month, it's no surprise that Johnny, Tarzan Weissmuller, and Lupe Velez have called it quits. But don't shed a tear for the little Mexican Spitfire, because Lupe has gone from the king of the jungle to the king of Hollywood, Clark Gable. And I'm happy to report that Victor Mansfield has returned to the set of They Made Me a Murderer after 2 weeks of bed rest to recover from a nasty back injury. Welcome home, Victor. So for now, it's ta-ta from Tinseltown. Love, Letitia. Mwah! Oh. Well, I could certainly use a couple of weeks of bed rest. Why can't I have something like that? Push my bed right next to Victor's. Oh, God. Well, I'm just never going to drink again in my life. Simple as that.
The now forgotten actor Wallace Reed's untimely death at age 30 shocked America. In 1923, he was seen as the embodiment of patriotism and vitality, not the type of man to succumb to drug abuse. Reed's death, along with a number of other scandals, forced Hollywood to clean house. In stepped Postmaster General Will Hayes to do the job. And Reed's wife, actress Dorothy Davenport, set out to give purpose to her husband's death. She produced and starred in the first anti-drug feature, Human Wreckage, which is sadly one of the most famous lost films in Hollywood's history. This is Jonathan Frakes, inviting you back for more of Hollywood's lost stories next week on The Lot.
My doctor says I'm healthier than he is. I swim every day. It takes your mind off your troubles.
If you suffer from arthritis pain, speak to your doctor.
The lake is good for your soul.
Tylenol Arthritis Pain Extended Relief. As effective as the most prescribed arthritis pain medicine, but much gentler to your stomach.
When I swim, I'm free.
Tylenol. Take comfort in our strength.
On the next episode of The Lot, a rising star crashes down to Earth.
You had a great future, kid. Drove it right off the road.
The studio chief shakes a fist at destiny.
I want a second opinion.
All right, those shoes don't match that suit.
And two actors throw caution to the wind.
I just got this new lipstick. What do you say we take it for a spin?
The glamour, the fortune, the fame, the truth. Based on the real stories from the real backlots of Hollywood, AMC's original series The Lot, next Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Sidney Poitier stars as a novice teacher at a tough London high school who gives his students an education in life in James Clavell's To Sir with Love. Next. The following is brought to you by GMC. From professional grade people come professional grade trucks.
You need some help?
Yeah. The new Chevy Tracker LT.
Just put in neutral.
Now with a powerful V6 engine. It thinks big.
Make sure your parking brake's off.
Chevy Tracker. Like a rock.
Wild Bunch.
At a time when 600 cuts was about the most an editor had to do for a film, The Wild Bunch set a new record. Director Sam Peckinpah and editor Lou Lombardo made a total of 3,642 cuts, thanks mostly to the montage sequences, which were put together piece by piece. Remember, there weren't any computers to help the process at the time. And that's part of what makes The Wild Bunch such an unbelievable piece of filmmaking. For American Movie Classics, I'm John Burke.
The preceding was brought to you by Chrysler.
Introducing the new 200 horsepower Chrysler Sebring. Sedan, convertible, and coupe. They beg to be driven.
A British botanist goes on a murderous rampage after being bitten while searching for a rare Tibetan flower in Werewolf of London, starring Henry Hull. Next. Ever wonder where the writer got the idea? How the director got the shot? What the actor did to get the part?
Mr. Louis B. Mayer said he wanted to meet the girl who started him on his way to fame and fortune.
For movie lovers who want the big picture on the big screen, American Movie Classics brings you the stories behind the movies.
Alice Guy was the first woman to direct a film.
Hollywood Lives and Legends goes inside America's favorite pastime every weeknight with an acclaimed AMC original featuring rare footage and exclusive interviews with the people who were there.
Directing movies is an on-the-spot job. It's a general in the battlefield.
See how classics are made.
We build a set that actually revolves as he's walking.
Stars are born.
He carried a kind of animal quality with him.
and lives become legends.
The manager said to me, that's what you ought to do. You ought to be out there telling jokes.
Get up close and personal with the movies on Hollywood Lives and Legends. Weeknights at 7, only on AMC.
Think you're tough? Try chasing this pack of wild dogs off your land.
Get the hell off my spread.
I know tough when I see it, and you will too. Because Wednesday nights on AMC, it's going to be staring right back at you.
On my honor, I never murdered anybody.
AMC's Tough Guys, a weekly workout of Hollywood's roughest, toughest legends.
Why don't you button up your britches and go home?
Tune in for AMC's Tough Guys, Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, with host Lawrence Fishburne.
I'm not asking you, I'm telling you.
British-born Archibald Leach shed his real name and became the classy Hollywood leading man. It's a birthday tribute to Cary Grant, Thursday on AMC. On the next episode of The Lot, the new screen sensation gets a Hollywood makeover.
You took away my name, my family, and my history.
A Night on the Town lands some scribes in the slammer.
Trust me, they'll never find us here.
And a legend's ego takes a hit.
What's her problem?
She's the blowhard dinosaur.
The glamour, the fortune, the fame, the truth. Based on the real stories from the real backlots of Hollywood, AMC's original series The Lot, this Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern. A British botanist goes on a murderous rampage after being bitten while searching for a rare Tibetan flower in Werewolf of London, starring Henry Hull. Next. The following is brought to you by Zantac 75. For tough heartburn, doctors know.
When that pastrami ride catches up with me, heartburn big time. My passenger says, here, take a Zantac 75. I say, what are you, a doctor? And he says, yeah.
Zantac 75, the heartburn relief doctors trust.
I'm on an all-night flight when suddenly, terrible heartburn. The guy in the next seat says, try this, Zantac 75. Thanks, I say. You know, maybe I had to see a doctor about this heartburn. He says you just did.
Zantac 75, the heartburn relief doctors trust.
You know, of all the special effects in movies, there's nothing quite as fascinating as the methods they used to make horror movies look so scary. Jack Pierce was faced with a makeup man's dream come true when he was assigned to make actor Warner Oland look like the Werewolf of London. Now, this was 6 years before Lon Chaney's Wolfman in 1941. First, Pierce took a plaster cast of Oland's entire head and custom-made a wolf's head for him to wear. Then, for the climactic fight scene, they covered his face with 1.5 inches of wax over a gauze base so that they could hide 4 tubes filled with ink. When the tubes were pierced, the ink looked like blood. Now that's pretty impressive to watch, especially since this movie is from the 1930s. Here are Henry Hull, Valerie Hobson, and Warner Oland in Werewolf of London.
It's just getting good.